One minute the internet was convinced the messy divorce between Jeezy and Jeannie Mai had finally cooled down, and the next minute the entire situation exploded like someone tossed gasoline on a celebrity bonfire. Because according to whispers floating around Hollywood, Jeannie didn't just move on after the breakup. Oh no, she allegedly moved on with a brand new man, and possibly a brand new baby on the way. And the moment that rumor hit the timeline, guess who reportedly lost his mind? That's right, Jeezy.now, the internet is asking one messy question after another. Did Jeannie Mai really reveal she's pregnant with another man's child? Is that mystery man secretly rumored to be Anderson.Paak? And if that's true, why are insiders suddenly claiming Jeezy is scrambling to fight for custody of their daughter Monaco? Because here's where things start getting wild. Sources are whispering about secret relationships, suspicious timelines, and a custody battle that could turn into one of the most chaotic celebrity family feuds we've seen in years. And once you hear the alleged details behind this pregnancy rumor, the reaction from Jeezy, and why fans believe this situation could drag 3 different households into one legal nightmare, you might start wondering if this drama was ever really over in the first place. The moment the rumors started spreading online, people realized this wasn't just another random celebrity gossip story. This was the kind of situation that had layers, history, bitterness, and a whole lot of unresolved tension between people who once looked like the perfect Hollywood couple. Because before all the headlines, before the rumors about a new man, and long before anyone started whispering about a possible pregnancy, there was a marriage that the public thought would last. When Jeezy first got together with Jeannie Mai, the relationship actually surprised a lot of people. On paper, they seemed like complete opposites. Jeezy had built his reputation in the hip-hop world with a tough, street-influenced image and a career that stretched back years. Jeannie, on the other hand, was known for her polished television personality, her talk show appearances, and her role as one of the hosts on daytime television. But somehow the two of them made it work, at least in the beginning. Their love story moved fast. They went from dating to engagement and eventually to marriage. And for a while, they looked genuinely happy. Fans watched their relationship unfold through interviews and public appearances. They spoke about family, growth, and building a life together. Then came the birth of their daughter Monaco, which many people believed would make their bond even stronger. But behind the scenes, things were apparently not as perfect as they seemed. The first real shock came when Jeezy suddenly filed for divorce. The announcement blindsided fans and sparked immediate speculation about what had gone wrong. There had been no obvious warning signs, no public fights, no obvious scandal at the time. From the outside, everything looked normal. And yet suddenly the marriage was over, according to people close to the situation. The breakup was anything but peaceful. Sources claimed there were disagreements about lifestyle, priorities, and the direction their relationship was heading. Some insiders said the two of them had been struggling privately for months before the divorce papers were filed. Others suggested the tension had been building even longer. And then the situation became even more explosive when accusations started surfacing. Jeannie later alleged that during the marriage there had been several disturbing incidents involving arguments that turned physical. She described moments where she claimed things had gotten out of control, including heated confrontations in private settings. These allegations quickly made headlines and turned what had started as a simple divorce into something much darker and more complicated. Jeezy, however, pushed back strongly against those claims. He denied the accusations and said they were completely false. In statements released through representatives, he insisted that he had always tried to handle the breakup respectfully and that the narrative being presented about him was unfair and damaging. So now the divorce wasn't just about two people separating. It had turned into a battle of reputations, and in the middle of that storm was their daughter Monaco from the moment the divorce became public. Both sides made it clear that their priority was the child they shared. Jeezy said repeatedly that he wanted to remain an active father in Monaco's life. Jeannie also emphasized that protecting her daughter was the most important thing to her. At first, it seemed like the custody situation might remain relatively calm compared to the rest of the drama. Reports suggested that the goal was to reach a joint custody agreement that allowed both parents to stay involved. But even that arrangement had its own complications. There were disagreements about finances, childcare arrangements, and certain responsibilities connected to raising Monaco. At one point, reports claimed there were disputes over payments related to tuition and childcare expenses. That issue alone started another wave of public debate about who was fulfilling their obligations and who wasn't. Still, for a while the situation appeared to be settling down. The divorce process moved forward. Legal paperwork was handled. The public attention slowly began shifting toward other celebrity stories, and many fans assumed that both Jeezy and Jeannie were simply moving on with their lives, but then something unexpected happened. People started noticing subtle hints that Jeannie might not be single anymore. It didn't start with a big announcement or a red carpet debut. Instead, it began with little moments that sparked curiosity online. Social media posts that seemed unusually romantic, appearances at events where she seemed particularly happy, comments that hinted at a new chapter in her life, and then came the rumors connecting her to someone new. Before long, gossip pages were buzzing with speculation that Jeannie had been spending time with Anderson. Paak. At first, most people brushed it off as another internet theory. After all, celebrities are constantly linked to each other based on the smallest coincidences. But the whispers didn't go away. In fact, they started getting louder. People claimed they had seen the two of them at the same events, sometimes arriving separately, but interacting closely once inside. Others insisted they had spotted them together in public settings where they didn't seem particularly concerned about being recognized. Still, neither of them confirmed anything. Every time someone tried to ask Jeannie directly about the rumors, she managed to dodge the question with a smile or a playful response. She didn't confirm the relationship, but she didn't exactly shut it down either. And for the internet, that kind of mystery is like throwing fuel on a fire. Soon fans began connecting dots that may or may not have existed. They pointed out that around the same time these rumors were starting, Anderson .Paak had quietly filed for divorce from his own wife, Jalen Chang. That revelation instantly turned a simple dating rumor into something much bigger. Because now people were asking a very messy question. Was the timing just a coincidence? Or was something else going on behind the scenes? Suddenly, the story had expanded into a complicated web involving multiple relationships, to divorces, and a growing pile of speculation that seemed to change every single day. Some fans defended Jeannie and insisted she had every right to move on after her marriage ended. Others weren't so forgiving and accused her of stepping into a situation that was already messy. And as the online debate grew louder, something else started circulating that would take the drama to a completely different level. It began as a whisper from an anonymous source who claimed that Jeannie wasn't just dating someone new. According to that source, she might actually be expecting a child. At first, the idea sounded so outrageous that many people dismissed it immediately. Celebrity gossip pages throw around pregnancy rumors all the time, and most of them turn out to be completely false. But in this case, the speculation refused to disappear. Instead, it started spreading across multiple platforms. Some fans began analyzing Jeannie's recent appearances, pointing out outfits they thought looked suspiciously loose. Others claimed they had heard from insiders that a big announcement was being prepared. A few gossip accounts even insisted that the pregnancy was the reason she had started hinting publicly about being in love again. And once that rumor reached the ears of people connected to Jeezy, the entire situation reportedly took another dramatic turn because, according to whispers circulating in entertainment circles, the possibility that his ex-wife might be expecting a child with another man did not sit well with him at all. In fact, Several sources claim that this was the exact moment when the calm that had settled after the divorce suddenly disappeared, instead of quietly co-parenting and moving forward. The story was now heading toward a new chapter that no one saw coming, and that chapter, according to people close to the situation, involved a renewed fight over custody of Monaco that could turn the already messy breakup into something even more chaotic. And that chapter, according to people close to the situation, involved a renewed fight over custody of Monaco that could turn the already messy breakup into something even more chaotic. Because once the pregnancy rumors started circulating, insiders claimed the mood around Jeezy shifted almost immediately. Up until that point, he had mostly kept a low public profile regarding his ex-wife's personal life. Yes, there had been disagreements during the divorce. Yes, there were still unresolved tensions surrounding the accusations and financial disputes. But for a while, it seemed like both sides were trying to keep things somewhat civil for the sake of their ... Then suddenly the narrative changed. Sources began whispering that Jeezy was extremely unhappy about the idea that Jeannie Mai might be building a brand new family while their own co-parenting situation was still delicate. According to one anonymous insider who claimed to have spoken to people within Jeezy's circle, the rapper felt blindsided by how quickly things appeared to be moving. The source allegedly said something along the lines of, he expected her to move on eventually. That's normal after a divorce. But hearing rumors that she might already be pregnant with another man's child? That's the kind of thing that changes the entire dynamic. Now, whether that insider actually knew anything or was simply adding fuel to the gossip fire is impossible to confirm. But the internet ran with the story anyway, and as usual, social media immediately split into two camps. One side believed Jeezy had every right to feel upset. After all, the two of them shared a young child together, and any major life change involving either parent could potentially affect the co-parenting arrangement. These supporters argued that if Jeannie really was expecting another baby, it would naturally create a new household dynamic that might complicate how Monaco was raised. But the other side wasn't having it. Those critics argued that once a divorce is finalized, each person is free to live their life however they want. They pointed out that Jeannie had been publicly devastated when the marriage ended, and many believed she had tried to save the relationship before things completely fell apart. So if she had finally found happiness again, why should anyone be mad about it? But just when the debate started cooling down, another twist entered the story, because while everyone was arguing about whether Jeannie was pregnant, another rumor surfaced suggesting that the alleged father might actually be someone fans already knew very well. That's when the name Anderson .Paak began appearing everywhere. At first, the connection seemed almost random. Yes, the two of them had reportedly been spotted at the same events. Yes, there were whispers that they had grown close recently, but nothing about those interactions proved a romantic relationship. Still, gossip culture doesn't exactly wait for proof. Soon people began digging into every possible clue they could find. They looked at old photos, analyzed social media posts, and even compared the timing of certain public appearances. Some internet detectives claimed the two had been quietly seeing each other for months. One viral post even suggested that the timeline of Anderson's divorce from his wife, Jalen Chang, seemed suspiciously close to the moment Jeannie's own marriage collapsed again. None of this was confirmed, but that didn't stop the speculation from spiraling out of control. Suddenly, gossip channels were painting a dramatic picture of a secret relationship that had allegedly been developing behind closed doors while both stars were dealing with the minus one of their previous marriages. According to these theories, the reason Jeannie had been so careful about revealing her new romance was because she didn't want to be accused of breaking up another household. One anonymous blog even claimed a supposed industry insider had witnessed the two of them together at a private dinner months earlier. The person described them as looking very comfortable with each other and suggested their chemistry was obvious, of course, without any photos or solid proof. The story remained just another rumor floating around the internet. But then something happened that made people start paying attention again. Jeannie posted a message online that many fans interpreted as a not-so-subtle hint about her love life. The post talked about how unpredictable life can be. It mentioned how someone might believe they will never find love again, only to suddenly discover a relationship that feels more fulfilling than anything they experienced before on its own. The message could have meant almost anything, but in the middle of all these rumors, fans immediately assumed it was connected to the mystery man everyone was talking about. Within hours, the internet had already decided what the message meant. People started claiming that Jeannie was soft-launching her new relationship before eventually confirming it publicly. Others went a step further and insisted the post was actually preparing fans for a pregnancy announcement. And if that speculation wasn't dramatic enough already, the situation took another turn when paparazzi footage from a recent event started circulating online. In the video, Jeannie could be seen arriving at a gathering where reporters quickly began asking questions about the rumors linking her to Anderson .Paak. Instead of confirming anything, she simply smiled, greeted the cameras politely, and continued walking. To some viewers, that reaction looked like someone who was carefully avoiding a topic she didn't want to discuss yet. To others, it looked like a celebrity dealing with yet another baseless rumor. But regardless of what the truth actually was, the clip went viral almost instantly. And somewhere in the middle of all this chaos, sources began claiming that Jeezy was considering a more aggressive legal approach when it came to custody of Monaco. Now, to be clear, there had always been discussions about how the two parents would share responsibilities. But according to these new whispers, the rapper was reportedly exploring the possibility of pushing for a stronger custody arrangement. One insider allegedly told a gossip outlet that Jeezy wanted to ensure his daughter's environment remained stable and consistent. The source claimed he was particularly concerned about sudden lifestyle changes happening too quickly. Again, none of these claims were confirmed through official legal filings at the time, but the mere possibility of a renewed custody fight was enough to send fans into another frenzy. Some people accused Jeezy of using the situation to pressure his ex-wife emotionally. They argued that threatening a custody battle during such a sensitive moment would only make the conflict between them worse. Others believed he was simply acting as a protective father who wanted to make sure his child's future wasn't affected by complicated adult drama. Meanwhile, another layer of tension was quietly building on the other side of this story, because if Anderson .Paak really was involved in a new relationship with Jeannie while still finalizing his divorce, that meant someone else might not be thrilled about the situation either, and that someone was his soon-to-be ex-wife. According to speculation circulating online, Jalen Chang was already dealing with the emotional fallout of her own marriage ending. The two of them shared children together, which meant their separation had its own complicated custody discussions happening behind the scenes. So when fans started suggesting that Anderson might already be involved with another woman and possibly expecting a baby with her, the reaction from the public was intense. Some commentators said the timing looked messy. Others argued that people were jumping to conclusions without knowing the full story. But the more these rumors spread, the more it started to feel like this wasn't just one celebrity breakup anymore. It was beginning to look like a tangled web connecting multiple relationships to divorces and 3 different families whose lives were now being dissected by millions of strangers online. And just when everyone thought the drama couldn't get any more complicated, a new wave of speculation started suggesting that the next development in this story might not come from social media at all. According to several gossip outlets, the real explosion could happen inside a courtroom. Because if the rumors about custody disputes, new relationships, and potential pregnancies kept escalating, the quiet co-parenting arrangement that once seemed possible might soon transform into a full-blown legal battle. And if that happened, the situation between Jeezy and Jeannie might enter a phase that would make everything we've heard so far look calm by comparison. And if that happened, the situation between Jeezy and Jeannie Mai might enter a phase that would make everything we've heard so far look calm by comparison. Because the moment rumors of a possible custody fight began circulating, entertainment insiders started quietly suggesting that the real drama might not be happening on social media at all. Instead, they claimed the next chapter of this story could unfold behind closed doors in courtrooms, legal offices, and private negotiations where the public would only hear pieces of what was really going on. And if there is one thing Hollywood has taught us, it's that celebrity custody battles can turn incredibly complicated once lawyers get involved. Sources familiar with high-profile divorce cases say situations like this often escalate quickly when new relationships enter the picture. When one parent begins building a new household with another partner, questions sometimes start appearing about stability, living arrangements, schedules, and long-term plans for the child involved. That doesn't mean anything illegal or irresponsible is happening, but it does mean lawyers often start preparing for every possible scenario.
And according to whispers coming from entertainment reporters, people close to Jeezy were allegedly discussing the possibility of strengthening his legal position regarding Monaco. Now, to be clear, no official court ruling had been announced at that moment. But gossip blogs began claiming that the rapper wanted to make sure his role in his daughter's life remained protected no matter how complicated the surrounding circumstances became. One anonymous industry insider supposedly explained it this way: when celebrities split up, the biggest concern is usually control over the child's schedule and environment. If new partners start appearing, especially ones who also have their own family situations, lawyers sometimes push for clearer custody structures so everything is documented. That comment alone sent fans into another round of speculation, because suddenly people were imagining a scenario where three separate households might end up entangled in overlapping legal conversations. On one side you have Jeezy, who shares Monaco with Jeannie and wants to remain fully involved in raising her. On the other side you have Jeannie, who many believe is trying to move forward with her personal life while balancing motherhood and her career. And then there is the third layer of the story involving Anderson .Paak, whose own divorce from Jalen Chang had already created a separate custody dynamic involving their children. When you step back and look at the situation from that perspective, it suddenly becomes easier to understand why the internet is so fascinated by this story. It isn't just a breakup anymore. It's a complicated intersection of relationships, families, emotions, and legal responsibilities all happening at the same time. But while fans continued debating online, another conversation started emerging among commentators who believed the public might be missing a much simpler explanation for everything. Some people pointed out that celebrity gossip often takes small clues and turns them into massive conspiracies. A vague social media post becomes proof of a secret relationship. A friendly public appearance becomes evidence of romance. And a single rumor about pregnancy turns into an entire narrative that spreads across the internet before anyone verifies it. In other words, there is always a chance that the situation isn't nearly as dramatic as people think. But that hasn't stopped the speculation machine from running at full speed. Entertainment bloggers began asking questions that only added more suspense to the story. If Jeannie really is in a new relationship, when will she officially confirm it? If the pregnancy rumors are false, why hasn't someone clearly shut them down yet? And if Jeezy truly plans to challenge custody arrangements, when will the legal documents appear that prove it? Each unanswered question keeps the story alive. Meanwhile, fans continue revisiting the messy history between the former couple, remembering just how intense their divorce became when accusations and counter-accusations started flying. For many observers, that history is the reason they believe the current rumors could easily explode into something bigger. When a breakup ends peacefully, former partners sometimes manage to build a stable co-parenting relationship over time. But when a relationship ends under a cloud of controversy, every new development tends to reopen old wounds. And that might be exactly what we're seeing unfold here. Because even if some of the current rumors turn out to be exaggerated, the emotional tension between the people involved is very real. Divorce, especially one played out under the spotlight of fame, rarely resolves all the complicated feelings overnight. There are reputations to protect, public narratives to manage, and families to consider. That combination can turn even small misunderstandings into major headlines. Another factor adding pressure to this situation is the non-stop attention from social media. In earlier decades, celebrity couples might have handled personal matters privately while the public only saw occasional updates through magazines or television interviews. Today, everything happens in real time. Fans analyze photos within minutes of them appearing online. Gossip pages post theories based on the smallest clues. Comment sections fill with opinions from people who have never met the individuals involved. And once a rumor starts trending, it can spread across millions of screens before anyone has time to respond. That is exactly what seems to be happening here. One moment people were discussing the aftermath of a high-profile divorce. The next moment they were debating a possible secret relationship. Then came speculation about pregnancy. And now the conversation has shifted toward custody battles and courtroom drama that may or may not actually exist yet. All of this raises an interesting question. Is the real story about what these celebrities are doing in their personal lives, or is it about how quickly the internet can transform uncertainty into a full-blown narrative? Because right now the only thing everyone agrees on is that the situation remains incredibly complicated. If Jeannie confirms a new relationship, that will open another chapter of public discussion. If the pregnancy rumors turn out to be false, it will raise questions about how the speculation started in the first place. And if any legal filings appear regarding custody arrangements, the story could instantly jump from gossip headlines to serious courtroom developments. Until then, the entire situation remains suspended in a strange place between fact, rumor, and interpretation. But one thing is certain. The history between Jeezy and Jeannie, the new names entering the conversation, and the emotional stakes surrounding their daughter mean that this story is far from over. In fact, many entertainment insiders believe the next few months could reveal whether this drama fades away quietly or turns into one of the most talked about celebrity family disputes in recent memory. And judging by how quickly each new rumor spreads online, millions of people will be watching closely to see what happens next. So at this point, the internet is left trying to figure out what's actually real and what's just another layer of celebrity rumor. Did Jeannie Mai really reveal that she's pregnant with a new man? Is that mystery man actually Anderson.Paak, or is the internet connecting dots that were never meant to be connected in the first place? And most importantly, is Jeezy really preparing to take the custody fight for their daughter Monaco to the next level? Right now the truth seems to be buried somewhere between insider whispers, social media speculation, and a whole lot of unanswered questions. But if there's one thing we know about celebrity drama, it's that the story is never finished when people think it is. Sometimes the real explosion happens weeks or even months later when new information finally comes out. So what do you think is really going on here? Is Jeezy simply being a protective father, or is this turning into a messy battle fueled by jealousy and old wounds? And if the pregnancy rumors are true, how do you think this situation will affect the future of their co-parenting relationship? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned because if anything new breaks in this story, you already know we'll be back with the next update.